Famed, of course, for my unique red skin and unparalleled skills as a general of the House of War, I, the Red Prince, was raised within the vast palaces of the fabled Forbidden City. I was destined to become the next emperor. But my ambitions suffered a bit of a setback when I fell from grace for cavorting with demons. Now, I'm exiled and hunted by assassins. But I assure you, I remain undaunted and as determined as ever to claim my rightful throne.
I used to be a slave, kept under the thumb of the master, the bastard that made me hunt down my own kin. How did he do that, you ask? With the living scar you see on my cheek, this horror that takes no more than a song sung by Master Dearest to control my very thoughts. But now the tables have turned. I broke my shackles, and when I finally find him, I will make the master sing a very different kind of song.
Once I was a crusader for the Divine Order. I pledged my life to Lucian the Divine. The war changed everything. He sent me to save the elves I grew up amongst. I arrived too late. Lucian ordered the use of death fog against the Black Ring, annihilating everyone I once knew in the process. Now I'm a mercenary killer, one of the infamous Lone Wolves. And my next target is none other than Lucian's own son.
I was just thinking about someone I used to know. My cousin, the Queen, in fact. A tyrant. I tried to stop her, but things don't always go according to plan. She cast me out to a forgotten island, and made short work of my allies, too. Lucky for me, I was able to commandeer a ship, and began a new life for myself, out on the high seas. Aye, but I hear that the Queen is at it again. And there's something darker behind her madcap schemes this time. If I don't stop her, I don't know who will.
All my life, I've been a performer, a musician, beloved and celebrated by all. But I have a secret. I'm also a playground for sprites and spirits and worse. The voice that rings inside me now is darker than any that came before. Almost caused a bunch of my fans to rip each other to pieces. But you can trust me. I've got this under control. Step 1. Find out who, or what, is trying to take control of my mind. Step 2. Make it sorry it ever tried.
Don't stare. How would you look after eons in some ghastly crypt? Your people are rather prone to death. Mine are not. Yet when I emerged from my completely unjustified imprisonment, I found them gone. Our culture forgotten. Any trace of the world I knew all but obliterated. I must even hide my true face beneath an ever-shifting mask for fear you savages will attack me. That is how I wander this strange world. Trying to uncover the truth about a history you primitive people never even knew existed.
It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the Magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared, and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead I became part of their story.
So, still a bit groggy, are we? Don't worry, the sedative will wear off soon enough. Easy now, no need to hurry. Get your bearings and report to me upstairs.
Well now, aren't you a curious sight? If I'd had a mask to hide my bones as well as yours, maybe I'd still be walking around today. Where'd you get it? There can't be many curios like that in the world. Ha! Fresh out of the crypt, are you? No, we are abnormal. Or walk about like you still had flesh on your bones in your case. You even have yourself a silky mortal voice. Ha! Should have known it was a parlour gimmick. Still, you'd best keep that mask on. The living don't take kindly to seeing their future staring back at them.
And now you are silent. If only all humans were so thoughtful. How crude. I've seen more intricate design in a butcher's slab. How crude. I've seen more intricate design in a butcher's slab. An animal sty. Freight or food?
Shaking her fluffy coat, the sheep eyes you balefully, her rectangular eyes like letterboxes to the void. With one sharp hoof, she kicks you right in the shin.
Banded like a chicken's leg.
but not much meat on your bones. You're more animal than me. Sorcerers are bad news, and the Magisters know it.
With 2 shakes of her stumpy tail, the sheep turns away from you to peruse her hay-filled manger. Did you expect a needle?
I'll need to get clever with this lock.
Who? What a well of knowledge this tome is. Dallas is such a dear lending it to me. My, these smelling salts are strong stuff.
Empty.
Why, you're looking a bit more chipper. Yes. Looks like that collar fits you snugly enough. Nice bit of work, if I do say so myself.
In fact, he seemed quite averse to spending time.
There you are. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the logs. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters. Why? Because we're at sea, of course, and have been for several days.
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative. Oh, well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. In the meantime, all you need to know is that a new life awaits, and if you're a particularly good boy, perhaps a cure as well. An end to sauce. For good. Why, for my peace of mind, of course. Why don't you try casting one of those sauce spells of yours? See what happens.
Currents of magic surge inside you, boiling, bursting, then breaking, only to fade back into your soul like rain into the earth.
You better stop before you hurt yourself. All will, but no result. There you have it. See? The collar's function. It neuters you of sorts. Makes you unable to cast sauce. For your own peace of mind, of course. Yours and the whole world's. You've been collared and you've been told why. There really is no need for you to linger.
Magister stands pale and silent. Her knuckles whiten.
Good God.
Behind the Magister, a bloodied mass lies in a heap. Gore and limbs lie at odd angles. You can't make out a face amid the mess.
There's been a murder. A sorcerer was killed by one of your own. Lucky you were busy getting your collar fitted at the time, or you'd be a suspect like the rest of them. Waters is investigating. She'll figure out who did it. Always does. It's a small ship. His name was Finn. Oddball. Looked to me like he saw something he wished he hadn't before he came here. We'll find out who did it, one way or another.
Did the murderer take
Nothing
him
to
into
see
this?
here.
Or was he already here? Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwalker followed the source that did this. Finn didn't see it like that. He was desperate for us to help him. Two things scared the living daylights out of him. His own shadow. We'll find out who did this. Speaking of...
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. You're one of the only indisputably innocent people on the ship. Unless you can commit murder in your sleep, of course. Finn was killed by Source. If a Magister could do that, there wouldn't be a Magister. It looks more like a passenger managed to slip their collar. And the rest, well, you see the evidence in front of you. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open among the passengers. Sometimes they clam up in front of it. Bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about that? Thanks. I just want to catch whoever did this before they hurt anyone else.
The hatch is blocked. I'll need to find another way.
I'm not suited for this. It's sea cow, not sea sheep. Haven't got any shoes, have you? People these days.
That can't be natural. You put a knuckle in it. I'm trying to concentrate.
Boring.
We're like cattle to them.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Mad. Insufferable.
An elf sits tucked away in a dark spot, lazily rolling dice onto the surface of a barrel. They sound like the dry cackling of an old witch.
Snake eyes.
She chuckles.
I bet that's just what they'll look like.
She shakes her head.
Game for one, I'm afraid. Rolling dice. Deciding fates.
She eyes you quite seriously.
Not the future, no, but I can read the past in flesh. One of the perks of being an elf, you see. I'm quite good at it, too. I could lick your arm and tell you how you spent the night before last. Shall I?
She looks at you in surprise when you bare an arm of bone.
My. Guess I'll have to find out the memory from Marrow, won't I?
She gives your arm a vigorous stroke of the tongue, efficient like a cat grooming.
You were in a cellar with other sorcerers, watching, staring at them, hoping that none would... You were desperate to speak up, to reach out, to form a connection with these strange creatures. But you were scared, terrified even, of what they might think of you. Of course it is. The truth's right there, skin deep, so to speak. But don't you worry, darling. Your secret's safe with me. I don't lick and tell. Don't worry, honey. It isn't yours.
She looks you up and down with the merest hint of a coy smile on her lips.
Never say never, though.
The woman keeps rolling her dice.
That right? I always knew you'd turn out rotten, Ben Nest. Your kind... I'm busy watching for clues, sorcerer. Go take your sub-story somewhere else.
I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
There's nothing
A
else.
scruffy man lounges against the wall with scarred arms folded. A sly smile playing on his face, he stares across at the Magister guarding him.
Watch your back, new fish. There's a murderer on board, and I'd bet 3 months' pay it's this tramp Ifan.
Rolling his eyes at the Magister's warning, the man named Ifan beckons again. He leans in and adjusts your collar with a sharp tug, balancing its weight so it no longer presses unpleasantly on your neck. He
pinches less that way, right?
Hocking a phlegmy gobbet in your general direction, the sullen Magister settles back to his task of glowering at Ifan. And now, you.
We used to know each other, more's the pity. I was his commander many, many, many moons ago. Isn't that right, Vic?
Standing far back from Ifan, the tight-faced Magister draws one finger across his throat in an elaborate fashion, but says nothing. Ifan grins, flashing pointed white teeth.
Same as he was at 14 years old. Only difference is somebody gave him a bigger sword, and now he's Johnny Big Pants. No. The dead man, Finn, is it? I'd no business with him. And I wouldn't put a man down without good reason.
He glances over at Magister Victor, who's staring back at him with pointed intensity.
Damn shame sheer annoyance isn't reason enough. Long story. Maybe I'll tell you about it in the Joy. Away from interested parties. The Joy, I've heard a lot. Nothing good. No surprise there, since Bishop Alexander runs the show. Wonder if we'll get to meet the ringmaster himself. Easy now. I might think the same, but Vic here will blow a blood vessel if he hears you talking like that.
What are you conspiring about over there? You! What's your name?
Oh, don't mind him. Vic's just got a bee in his bonnet. And that bee is me.
Name?
Magister Victor looks at you suspiciously, then scrawls something illegible down in a tiny notebook. He scowls at you as he stows the notebook back in his voluminous robes.
Away with you, at once.
Ifan performs an elaborate pantomime of keeping quiet, one finger in front of his lips as he leans back against the wall.
I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
There's nothing else I can make, Your Majesty. Turn it.
Ifan raises his eyebrows, but shakes his head at your attempts to communicate.
I've never dined on anything less.
Didn't make it clear the first time. Scram.
There has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magisters more concerned than your appetite.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
It was one of them. I know it. Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate. They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them. I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
You think me mad?
Mad? No. Insufferable? Surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Ifan raises his eyebrows, but shakes his head at your... A broad dwarf sits totally upright on the bench, eyes closed, palms face up on his knees. His beard is a cat. He raises an eyebrow as you approach, but doesn't open his eyes.
Listen up, boy. You hear that?
You've got this wolf on a leash now.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you right over the...
The ship, of course.
A wave of sound washes over you. The unintelligible chatter of your shipmates, the groaning of wood from floor to ceiling, the boom, crash and crack.
And?
There's nothing else I can make, Your Majesty. Turnips and water are all I was given.
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen-course dinner, and I don't intend to do away.
The fellow cocks his ear, listening.
That isn't anger, it's...
He cocks his ear to the other side, then smiles.
Anticipation. She senses something. I'd hold on to my breeches if I were you, mate. That's all you hear, though. Listen close. There now, just like that.
Squeak!
Aha!
His eyes snap open as his countenance breaks into an expression of joy. One great paw claps you on the back. The other...
There. You heard it, didn't you? I knew it. I knew it. Aye, this is good news, boy. Good news.
Never thought you'd end up...
It's the wheel. The wheel. Don't you see, you beautiful idiot? Squeaks whenever the helmsman jerks it clockwise, which means we're heading east. Burn my beard. That means if we've been traveling for, yes, only 10.34 nautical miles to Fort Joy.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you right over the side of this ship with him.
Captain, actually. And that figure tells me we're getting close to the Joy.
The dwarf leans back from the table and strokes his beard, gold medallions jingling merrily. His eyes roll over to you.
That'll be all. Thank you kindly, boy.
That right? I always knew you'd turn out rotten, Ben Mest. Your kind always hung closest to our divine...
He continues stroking his beard, a beatific smile on his lips, and doesn't acknowledge...
Got this wolf on a leash.
If you'll be pardoning me, I'll be much obliged.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you right over the side of this ship with him.
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
You one of them? A divine order loyal? They killed a sorcerer, you know. They'll hide the evidence well enough, but make no mistake. I didn't do nothing, okay? It was one of them. One of your people. Human.
Well, there has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magister's more concern than...
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing.
You! Sorcerer! Blood?
No.
Go! Oof.
Name?
Be good, you scallywags.
Well, you aren't here on my list. Scram, eh? We're trying to catch a killer here. Like I said, you aren't on the list.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
Carry
because I'm magic. Are you here because you're weird?
Can we just skip to the part where I...
Hey there, weirdo!
You think me mad?
Mad? No. Insufferable? Surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
There's nothing else I can make, Your Majesty. Turnips and water are all I was given.
I've never dined on anything less than a dozen course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with the custom.
Well, there has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magister's more concerned.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about...
Do you know Losa? She's a really good singer. I'm better though. Listen. What's your job? You look like a magic maker. Like me, but maybe not so strong.
You look like my daddy. His name is Frida. He's waiting for me at home.
I'll come back. And you better be ready to talk here.
Ah, there you are. Husband. Would you please tell this very charming gaggle of not-at-all brat-like babes that I am by no accounts this Losa woman, nor do I sing, in fact. I'm deathly, deathly allergical. How very correct you are, spouse of mine. Madame Josephine Gribbles de Peeb refuses to be confused with anyone else. What? What's so funny?
Her pinched face cracks into a great grin, and she shoos the children away from her with a laugh.
Yeah, okay, you found me out. Go on and git, and maybe I'll sing you something when I'm good.
She turns to you, dark-eyed and dirty-haired.
Gotta keep ourselves entertained, haven't we? You presume right. Nope. Trying not to find anything out either. Ignorance is bliss. The utterer, the better. Thanks, but I already belong to an elite and exclusive ship gang. We play ball every day after lunch. You're too soft for it. You take care, though.
Suddenly, her eyes cloud to an unnatural black. Greyish veins run down her face. As quickly as they came, the clouds clear. She's...
Good luck, Chief.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one. You think me mad?
Mad? Insufferable? Surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
I spent my life singing for my slaves to bring me my supper. Finer fare than... Meanwhile, the Magisters feast on honeyed meat behind this... Who we are, what we've done, they mean less than nothing as long as these collars choke us.
And I strongly suspect you know all about it. It was one of them. I know it. Well, perhaps you're
Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
You think me mad?
Mad? No. Insufferable? Surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
Boring.
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
There's There's nothing else I can make, Your Majesty. Turnips and water are all I was given.
Unacceptable. I've never dined on... Well, well. What have we here? A fresh face in this stale hell. Let's size you up, shall we?
The lizard looks you up and down, like a farmer would a fetching horse. All of a sudden, he grips you firmly by the chin, with the intent of inspecting your teeth.
One of us will kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
There's some discoloration, as well as a rather disconcerting lack of tongue and gums, but I've seen worse. After all, one can't expect to find prime merchandise on a squalid little ship. Now then, to business. You will answer me 3 questions. The first one is this. Can you cook?
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard, Vic.
That right?
And of course, a cook who can't taste is about as useful as a dog in a chess game.
Your kind always hung closest to...
On to the second question. Can you knit, weave? In short, tailor?
Well, you've got this wolf on a leash now.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here...
Oh, but to feel the caress of satin on my scarlet skin once more. On then to my final query. Have you the ability to administer the upkeep of one's personal appearance? The delicate art of cosmetics is what I'm after.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
I'll give you that...
Just as I thought. That explains what's besieging my nostrils. So, 3 questions asked, 3 questions answered. Let's evaluate, shall we? As per your own testimony, you can tailor, but you have the taste buds of a dung beetle, and your personal hygiene reminds one of a carcass rotting in the sun.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
That won't do at all, see? I'm sad to say I must deny you the opportunity to be my slave. Ever so sorry.
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard, Vic.
I know, but you just don't have what it takes. A good slave's made of sterner stuff, I'm afraid. Still, hone your skills, and one day you may just qualify for a position in a lesser household than mine. You keep dreaming, you hear?
I'm right over the side of this ship with it.
It's a register, sir. Good, good. Magister Williams is just about done with the last passenger. You faring okay so far?
He tugs the collar of his uniform and chuckles.
Sorry you're upset, sir, but we all wear what we wear for a reason. You head on in now. Williams will get you sorted fast. Take care of yourself now.
Insufferable.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you.
Take care of yourself now.
Never thought you'd end up in prison.
That right? I always knew you'd turn up.
So, anything interesting for me? I'll take that as a no.
I forgot how to sing. I did.
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more
Trying
appetizing
to
things coming
and
out
if
of
she
things.
tries to run, shoot.
Standing at the center of the room, you spot a sorcerer haughtily eyeing a pair of nervous-looking magisters. They keep their crossbow trained upon her as she's being interrogated.
So you admit it then? You murdered that poor fella?
Yes, I did. But of course, that was only the beginning.
She turns her head and looks you straight in the eye.
There are others whose lives must end.
Good God, the woman's mad. You there, sorcerer, go and fetch Magister Siwan. We need to do more than collar this maniac. We need to shackle her, hands and feet.
It means your journey draws to a close. Do stick around for its finale, though, because...
She reaches for her collar and simply removes it.
I'm just about to create a scene.
Subdue her, men, quickly! If she casts source, the Voidwoken will come. They'll end us all.
She smiles with wicked satisfaction.
Precisely.
Mask. She stole it. If these savages see me without it, they will have my skull for a goblet.
The dwarf lies in a heap on the floor, his great beard twisted and tangled around him. He is stopped.
Oh! What? What happened? Must have been the turnips. You dare strike a royal?
The lizard's eyes close as he slips in. Ifan lies motionless, curled on the ground like an animal. His eyes flicker open, but he doesn't register your presence at all.
Lucien. Lucien.
Ifan cries out, then his eyes fall closed. The young woman lies in a heap on the floor. She doesn't stir. The Magister lies on the floor, unconscious and bleeding from a dire-looking...
The hatch is blocked. I'll need to find another way.
The hound paws desperately at its snout. It winces as it draws blood from its wet black nose and continues scratching. The dog notices you for the first time and snarls, the hairs on its back prickling as it lowers its...
You sorcerer!
It sneezes suddenly and paws at its nose once more.
Can't smell. Can't breathe. Too much sauce. Too much. Please, make it stop. Sorcerer!
The dog whines and continues pawing at its nose.
Not long before this thing snaps into splinters. Damn. That doesn't bode well. Onwards and upwards.
Thank the gods. By divine grace, who was that howling?
He eyes the collar circling your neck and reaches a hand towards his blade.
Another sorcerer! Like you don't know? Mutiny! Did that witch fix your collar too? Go on then. Find a place to hide and stay there.
The human's chief, Alexander. A curious name, but no more bizarre than anything else that species does.
What will happen to us? You need to find a hiding place, and quick.
And you thought Rivellon was flat?
God damn it! I need to get off this wreck, and quick. Great gods! Something's pounding on the hull.
marking on the door was painted recently, judging from its pungent scent. You recognize the symbol immediately for what it is. You press your palm against the door to open it. Your fingers clack against the wood, and you suddenly feel grey. That it doesn't budge. The door groans open, but an ashen shadow clouds your mind.
Death fog? Good thing I'm immune. Still, this means trouble.
A lifeboat! That means there's still a chance.
Shut your trap, kid. Children and dwarfs first, just like the old stories say.
The dwarf yanks at one of the nearby ropes to no avail.
You said there were other people down there. We need to help them.
You see those tentacles, kid? It's time for getting the hell out of here.
Thank you! There's a ladder right over there. You can go straight down.
You're gonna be the death of us, you hear?
The Magister lies on the floor, unconscious and bleeding from a dire-looking wound.
If you can walk, get yourself up the ladder. There's a... Wait! Void woken!
These beardless bugs won't sink the ship on my watch.
I thought Void Woken was supposed to be scary.
I've faced worse.
Let the games begin.
They who are about to triumph.
Away! The sea's hungry. We don't have much time.
They smell it worse dead than alive. Let's head above decks for some air.
Something. It's Magister C1. The one who put on this damn collar.
She tries to speak, but can only gape as she clutches her neck, trying to stem the bleeding of a gushing wound. With jagged movements, she raises her clenched fist and holds out a length of cloth, soaked with some kind of strong-smelling tincture. Blood quickly soaks through the cloth. Magister C1's mouth opens and closes, her eyes wide in terror. Blood pours out from around the bandage. Magister C1 reaches out to you, her hand flailing. It's working. The pressure is stemming the flow of blood. C1 clutches your arm, her eyes locked with yours. Something within the ship snaps. The floorboards shudder. Siwan struggles to her feet, clinging to you tightly. The ship lets out a deep groan, then cracks.
It's ripping the ship apart.
I have plans for you, child. Rise.
Honorable Dallas, we lost a ship sailing sorcerer prisoners to Fort Joy. We assume some escaped and broke their collars. Their vile magic lured the Voidwoken. All who were aboard are presumed dead. Yours faithfully into eternity, High Judge Orivan.
Well, that was decidedly unpleasant. Am I the lone survivor? Depending on one's definition of survivor, of course.